Hello everybody, and welcome to today's video, which is going to be talking about a different kind of repeat block. And in order to motivate this discussion, we're going to just take a look at a simple example that involves a repeat block. So to begin, let me go into Control, and I'm going to do something when the space bar key is pressed. And what I'm going to do is simply count down from 10 down to 1. So it sounds like a fairly straightforward sort of operation. In order to do this, I'm going to need a variable, and I'm going to rename that variable countdown. I need to set its initial value, and I'm going to count down from 10, as is often the case with like NASA type launches, and then I am going to repeatedly, in fact a total of 10 times, do the following. I'm going to say my variable. Remember, to say this variable, I can take it and drag it anywhere in the script that I need it. So I'm going to say countdown for 2 seconds. And then I need to decrease it. In order to decrease it, I go back into the variables palette and choose change by 1. So I'm going to change countdown, but I want to count down, so I need to make this -1. And at the end of the day, we should have something exciting happen. I could play a sound. That would probably be a good idea, but for right now I'm simply going to go ahead and play a note, maybe play another note, or possibly the same note because I'm lazy, and finally say blast off. And once again, I am using a generic sprite here. I have put a link to a media folder on the Moodle site, and it contains a whole bunch of different costumes and sounds, and I really encourage you to investigate those. However, in the interest of time, I'm going to just stick with this. So I'm going to hit the space bar. Let's see if this works. Take a careful look at it and decide whether or not it looks like it's got works. I'm going to change this from 2 seconds down to 1 because I'm always interested in saving time. Uh-oh. Doesn't look good. There we go. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off. Success. Alright. The only problem with this script is that we had this variable and we defined it in one block. We changed its value in another block. We used it, and then after we'd finished using it, we decremented it or decreased it by 1 right here. Now, because of the fact that we're working and basically doing the same thing with this variable, creating, initializing, using, and decreasing, it would be nice if there was some way to sort of bring this and consolidate this into one block. And there is. The block, however, isn't currently visible. In order to get to this block, you have to do a little magic trick. You go into the first menu here, into the Documents menu, and choose Import Tools. And we wait a moment, and I suppose I could hum. This is happening in real time. Perhaps I'd better not hum. And for the record, I am using Suddenlink, which is actually a pretty good service as far as internet service providers are concerned. Alright, so it says that it's imported various things. And now when I scroll down, I will see that there are a number of new blocks. These blocks below Pause All did not exist previously in this project. And there were also some blocks added to operators. Let me see. These last 4 were added to operators. And in variables, everything below Make a Block was also added. Let's go back to Control. And so the block that I'm interested in is called for I equals 1 to 10, and it's shortened usually to a for block. And the way this block works, like a repeat block, whatever goes inside the slot here, those blocks will be repeated over and over again. The only difference is that the variable that we can use inside this script is defined here to be I. Its initial value is 1, its final value is 10, and every time it repeats here, I will get increased by 1. So we can basically do what we did previously in a much shorter time. So I'm going to say Now, I don't want to call this I, so I'm just going to click on it and rename it countdown. And I can drag this into the script. So I'll say countdown for 1 second. I do not need to worry about changing countdown because that's going to happen. Now, I've got the initial script had I equal 1 to 10. I actually want to go from 10 down to 1. So I will go ahead and do that. And to make this an absolutely fair comparison, I'm going to put a hat block on top, except instead of using the space bar, just to avoid confusion, I'm going to I'll just pick the A key. There we go. And then these, oops, did not mean to do that. Let me stop that here. I was trying to copy. There we go. Duplicate. I'll put these on bottom. There we go. So as you can see, our new script is approximately half the size of the old one, and yet, as I press the letter A here, we will see that it does the same thing. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. So it does the same thing. Where have we saved? Well, we didn't have to create a variable, we didn't have to initialize it, and we didn't need to change it. We simply had to use it inside the script. The result is that we end up with something that is easier to understand and shorter, which is pretty much always a good idea. So again, in order to gain access to this for block, you will have to go ahead and choose Import Tools. And I like the little note there, load the official library of powerful blocks. So now we're going to take a look at one more example, simply because it's a lot of fun. And the idea is that we want to draw a spiral, which sounds pretty good. So let's consider how we would do that. So we're going to move a couple of steps, and then we're going to turn 90 degrees. Now, if we kept doing move, turn, if we did this over and over again, we would draw a circle. But I want to draw a spiral, so I want to start small, and I'm going to use my mouse to sort of try and simulate this, and I want to draw and spin out and spiral out. Well, in order to do that, every time I move, I'm going to have to move more and more. So I'm going to say move 2, move 4, move 6. I think you get the idea here. Move 8, and so forth. So if you take a look at this script, you can see that they're basically two blocks that are being repeated over and over again. And the point of this discussion is to get you thinking about how to look at something repetitive and realize that repetition is taking place and be able to consolidate it. Well, since we see that we've got 290, 490, 690, 890, and so forth, obviously we only need 2 blocks. So let's get rid of these. And then we're going to need a variable because I need to go 2, 4, 6, 8. And in order to do that, well, we're somewhat limited. So let me bring my for loop here. Because the way the for loop is designed, I can't go 2, 4, 6, 8. I can only go up by ones, which is a bit of a limitation, but that's fine. I'm going to go up from 1 to 100. And since I want to go, when I is 1, I want to go 2. When I is 2, I want to go 4. When I is 3, I want to go 6. When I is 4, I want to go 8. You can see every time through I'm going 2 times I. Now you might think I could do 2 times I, but I just press the multiplication, the key above, or I press the asterisk, and nothing shows up. The only thing that can go inside an oval is a number. So what I need to do is calculate 2 times I, and that requires I go into the operator. Bring this in here, and I want 2 times I. And now, let's go ahead and watch this work. Alright, and that happened so quickly it was a little bit hard to make out, but hopefully you got the idea. And then, to make this all work, first of all, I need to get back to where I started, so I'm going to have my sprite start at the center. And I want to be able to see this happen. So I'm going to put the pen down, and then when I'm finished, put the pen up. And you're probably wondering, why do I put the pen up at the end? Who cares if the pen is up? Well, if I've drawn and at the end of the spiral I'm here, and then the first thing I say is go to 0, 0, it'll leave a line as it relocates, and I don't want that line to be there. So I raise the pen, and so when it moves back into the center, I won't see that annoying line. I will choose, and let's see, I've already used the space bar in the A. I guess it's time for the letter B. So here we go. And we get a square sort of spiral. Alright, so that was actually a square spiral. I'm going to show you a little experiment. I'm going to change 90 to 92. You think, what difference is that going to make? There we get that very interesting looking shape. Let's go ahead and just clear things up. There we go. So we get that fascinating looking spiral there as well. And if you change this, you can actually get a smooth looking spiral, something that looks genuinely spiral shaped. And I'm going to leave it as an exercise to the reader to find out the numbers that can do that.